What is up, everybody? August 14th. We're pretty much almost through summer here, which is crazy. Football started like officially week 1 of preseason last night. Obviously, the Hall of Fame game last week. I mean, it's a great time to be a sports fan. We're right around the corner. And in saying that now, obviously we have DataFeeds, but we also have SportWise. There's some other things that we have going on. And you guys are in a lot of fantasy leagues. And this is where obviously we help a lot with the data-wise, but there's other things that we can also help with. So, Steve, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so what I thought we would talk about today is, with the advent of coding agents and the ability to, access raw data on our side through our DataFeeds product, I thought we would take a look at building like a draft tool helper. And, we've got a partnership with Fantrax already integrated into our SportWise product, so I'll show that in a minute as well. So I thought we would build something for Fantrax, and I'm in a competitive hockey pool there, or league, fantasy league pool if you're a Canadian. And so we'll talk a little bit of hockey and start getting ready for the drafts, even though NFL just started. Maybe just a little bit of background on Fantrax.
Yeah.
Fantastic platform. I think they're kind of differentiating factor in the space, highly configurable. So if you're in a league where you really want to tune the settings, they have a lot more options than a lot of the big platforms. And I know in my hockey league, which is quite competitive, that's the reason why we switched from Yahoo, is just to have more control over the rules. So why don't we jump into it? I'll just share my screen and I'll give everyone a little bit of the background. Slowly get up and running. We'll do the entire screen over here.
Before we get into this, I have a question.
Yeah, fire away.
How long do you think before Connor McDavid isn't the first overall pick in fantasy leagues? Or is McKinnon the pick this year? This is what the data seems to be saying otherwise.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it all depends on the performance of the teams. Why was McKinnon more productive last year? He played on a better team, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's really it. It'll be interesting to see. I think the Oilers are probably going to have a little bit of a bounce back year.
Yeah.
And some other offseason moves I think are better than some of the moves they've made previously, even though they've had to kind of shed a bunch of talent and assets. I don't know how long their window is going to be open, so I'm expecting a big year out of those guys. And so personally, I'd probably still pick McDavid number 1.
Yeah, he could be like 38 years old. I think he's still going number 1.
Yeah, and can everybody see my screen right now? I can't.
Yep, you're good. Okay.
So maybe I'll explain. As part of the sport conversation, I'll explain. So this is SportWise. It's our for kind of the everyday fan product. You can come in here and get access to most of the data that's available through DataFeeds, and you can create things called data spaces where you can kind of assemble all this data together through an interface as a non-developer. And so this is, I use this tool all the time. I'm in 5 football leagues, 2 hockey leagues, 3 baseball leagues. I'm in a lot of fantasy, and I wouldn't be able to be competitive in those leagues with 3 kids if I didn't have a tool like this. So I highly recommend checking it out if you don't have anything. It's highly configurable. It's not for the faint of heart. You need to kind of go in, learn, and invest. So we'll start here. I'll show you this. And one of the cool things about it is you can create something that we call calculated columns, where you can take the raw data and then create derivative data products out of it. So one of the things that I use to understand, to kind of come up with a single metric, a single ranking for players, is something called Z-score. And this is just, simple math. It's nothing too crazy, where you essentially say how across all the categories that are important in your league, rank that player's statistical performance in comparison to all the other players, and then map it to a standard deviation, and then take the sum of those and come up with one score as that composite ranking. And so, we look at it here. There's two of them. There's Z score for the season, which is how they performed throughout. And then there's Z score on games played, and that's normalizing it across the games played, because obviously like guys get injured, etc. And so not everyone's playing the exact same number of games. And I think this probably doesn't have all 82 games in here.
84.
84. This isn't 82 last year though.
Yeah,
84 this upcoming season.
So this is why you see Tom Wilson in a top 10 pick spot here.
Yeah, well, but that's
wouldn't be.
his ranking.
Yeah.
And what's important in this league is goals, assists, points, power play points, shots on goal, face-offs, PIMs, and hits.
Yeah, that's
so
big.
So this is where you can say, okay, there's a guy like Tom who has decent offensive production.
Yeah.
But the physical side of things, he ranks at the top. So he's a bit of a unicorn if you're trying to hit multiple categories.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So this is SportWise. It's available today. It doesn't require any code. One of the things that has changed, though, and we've talked about it in past streams, is the ability to use coding agents, Claude Code, OpenAI, Codex, Perplexity, like whatever your choice is, OpenClaw. The number of agent frameworks out there is growing daily. And you can use that to go and build something like SportWise, but customized.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just going to talk a little bit about, so to get access to data at SportWise, data at Rolling Insights, DataFeeds by Rolling Insights, you can come to the accounts.rolling-insights.com, register, or you can just go to the main website and follow the links, create an account, and you're going to get 30 days free for this season and last season. Anything historical beyond that, you have to have a paid account. We've also improved our documentation. We haven't formally announced this yet, but that's at docs.datafeeds.rolling-insights.com. And I actually need to go and probably spin up one more site. Duplicate. We'll go to Rolling Insights. The other thing that we've talked about in the past is skills. So we have a skill. I thought we had a page for this. I thought Jeff created one. Maybe it's the blog.
We do.
Fan zone business for creators. No, that's not it. It must be in the blog. Okay, we have a skill, which is on GitHub. And recently, we released an MCP. And so an MCP is essentially, the skill, tells your agent, the nuances of how to connect with a service. You can install them. They can talk about different workflows, et cetera. So they're really like a kind of a curated experience of how to get access to a tool. The MCP is like the raw, like machine to machine kind of chitter chatter that can occur. And so we've recently completed that. Again, not formally announced, but will be soon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and use the Fantrax API, which is available to everybody. And I'm going to use this MCP server to build a tool to prepare for my draft, my upcoming draft. So because I didn't want to bore everybody with all of the prompting and whatnot, you'll find kind of the starting element here. So to come back up, I just want to make sure I'm not, there we go. To come back up to the top, essentially what I said is, hey, take the Fantrax API, use the DataFeeds MCP, and build a draft tool. And so it went away and did a bunch of work and worked for 7 minutes, and it came back with this. And so this is a website that's running locally on my machine. It has the league in it. There's only one league right now. It has all the different fantasy teams that it's pulled from our league. We standardized. So, You won't see funny names in our league. We got rid of those. My team in
It's
particular
smart.
is the Flames. And you see that you can filter on all the NHL teams. So I thought we would use this as a starting point. So the other cool thing is you can kind of, as guys are getting drafted, you can take them off the board. So pretty handy.
Yeah.
I will mention that, if this is for demonstration purposes, one of my favorite things about Fantrax is if you build a tool, whether you're using SportWise or you build something using DataFeeds, as the players are getting drafted and you hit the API, it automatically updates your tool. So you don't have to do a bunch of crossing out like the old days, which was brutal. Everyone is the one buddy. It's like, who was that? Who was picked?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I picked Connor McDavid. It's like he was picked rounds ago.
Can't believe he's still on the board.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some changes to this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to apply that Z-score composite as a single ranking to this. So I love to talk to my agent, so I'm just going to voice it out. One of the things I'd like you to do is add a player ranking, and it's going to be a Z composite score, Z-score composite, using goals, assists, points, power play points, shots on goal, hits, and blocks. And that needs to be added as a column to this so I can rank on it. If you have any questions about the mathematical formula, please let me know. Otherwise, just use kind of the standard. And while you're at it, add the ability across the top header row in the player table for me to sort. So I want to be able to sort by ascending and descending so that I can sort the players based on that Z composite score column. Let's see if my mumbling is understood by the agent. So it's going to go away and do some thinking and working, and I'll just kind of talk a little bit about the math behind it. So one of the philosophies that we have is like, if you've got access to the raw data, you can create all this derivative data, and especially when you can start combining different data products together. So we talked about using 2Skills, Odds API, and DataFeeds last time to kind of create your own, maybe daily view of the lines for MLB. And so bringing that combination of data together and creating these derivatives can be really powerful and quite an edge. So in a lot of leagues, what you'll notice is that everyone just follows the same list, and it's the list that's been provided by Fantrax or Yahoo or Sleeper or whoever. And that's not always like the best ranking or is the feature set that is most likely to then lead to a winning team. That's based on expert opinion or kind of black box math behind the scenes. So I'm a real believer in being able to find edges in your leagues by creating those derivative values and then finding those players that, from a list that not everyone else is using.
Yeah, especially in your late rounds, right? Like that's where it's going to come in the most useful. Those are the players that not everybody knows, that it's not going to be as deep there. So, I mean, your top 20, you're pretty solid on. You kind of have an idea, but yeah, you're right. And across the sports, it's not even, doesn't just stick with NFL or NHL.
Yeah, exactly. So, pretty cool. One prompt. Very and again, cool. I like to talk to it because you can get more context down than just typing. But it looks like it did a pretty good job. So if I come in and rank the players, that's essentially when we looked at, and this has all the games.
Yeah.
This is essentially the same list that we were seeing in SportWise. So I feel pretty confident that it's accurate.
Yeah.
And I can come in here and let's see how my team ranks.
Oof.
I was in a rebuild, so I'm actually quite lucky because I've got.
But that's a good team right there.
Yeah. Somehow I can't get a goalie to win. You need a goalie.
Who are your goalies?
I'd have to. What do we got at the bottom here? Wolf is not good. Ottinger I traded for. UPL, he might be okay. And then these are my two farm.
You got some future. Players. Yeah, you got some future.
So, but you can see how quickly and easily you're able to take what's in Fantrax and personalize it with and extend that data with what's available in DataFeeds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to come in and rank on other, so we can do that, so we can see what's important. So maybe let's do another one. Let's add another one to kind of normalize on games played. Let's take the Z composite score and let's normalize that across games played, because not every player plays the same number of games. So add another column that would represent the Z composite score divided by games played. And so again, it'll go work in the background. And then I've got one other comment after. So maybe I'll ask you, Caleb.
Yeah.
What's your draft strategy? What do you use heading into a draft?
I
gives you the edge.
I don't use anything. I'm a strictly like I'm a go by feel guy. I watch, whatever training camp stuff. Guys that I watched last year who struggled, but I know that they can break out. People who are in new situations. Like I said, like when you're at the top of the draft board, your first like 2-3 rounds, you're probably kind of know what you're doing anyway. Just kind of who falls to you, unless you have like some guys will go no goalie for the start, and because if you're not getting one of the top guys, it's tough. You can usually you can skim an Oilers goalie, and at least you'll get some wins. Not going to be great. So I honestly don't really have a draft strategy. I am a very let's just go see who is available. So, and you know what? Not a great strategy, but I did win our company league last year.
You did, yeah.
I'm a free agent guy as well. I hit the waiver wire hard.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I was talking to Joel Cox a few years ago about this, and this is when he was at CBS Digital, and he was saying that he's like, there's kind of three camps, a third. He's like, there's the people who go purely on gut instinct just from watching the games. There's people that go off the content, so read a ton of content, and then there's the people who go off of data.
Yeah,
I definitely fit in the data camp and probably the watch the games camp.
Yeah.
I'm
firmly in the furthest watch the games camp.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, he had some success that year, I think, in NFL. And he is in a watch the games camp as well, even though he worked at CBS Digital.
This is changing things though. Seeing this, I mean, I can probably mix in a 50-50 split and have better success.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get access to it. I don't know where the it looks like we're seeing. Oh, there it is right there. It's just okay. So now we're seeing it by game. Didn't change the rankings that much actually.
Wow.
Pasternak probably floated up a little bit higher. Draisaitl came up higher. But overall, I like using this one, especially if you're looking for kind of players who are not going to be at the top of most people's lists.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get that data. So you can kind of get a lens on if they have not played as many games and they might be performing at a really high pace. So one last thing we're going to do. This one's a little bit more experimental, and you can't do this in SportWise today. So this is a little bit of like advanced functionality. I'm going to try to figure out the Z score composite by position.
Ooh,
because
the
most important thing in fantasy is have the best player in that position.
Totally.
You could have all the best players, but have an imbalanced team, don't have enough people to get into the right spots in your lineup. So let's try this out.
It's the worst.
Okay, this looks really good. We want to take the Z composite score, and we want to calculate it by position. So apply the same mathematical formula to it, but do your calculations based on the player's position or slot. So center, right wing, left wing, etc. And based on that, across all players on all teams, provide a new column that has that positional Z-score composite. Okay, let's see if this finishes before our time runs out, and hopefully we end on a high note and it all works. So I know that you're a big positional drafter, just having kind of drafted with you. What positions do you we'll talk hockey first, we can talk football. What's your positional view? Like, how do you rank positions?
I usually aim for a center first, typically, if you're at the top half. But like you said, you do want those top positions. D-men are always tough because there's not a lot of like high scoring D-men. So you kind of got to get one of the top 5, probably. If you're looking at like Makar, Hughes, probably Heiskanen, Hudson now, like those guys. So I'm usually center and then D-man, and then I go into the wingers. I feel like there's kind of endless amounts of wingers that can kind of chip in here and there. And I always end up, like you were saying, like I always end up with too many centers and then I can't fit them in. So like having the positional, like having a center / right wing always has value to me, especially in the later rounds. As those guys go deeper, like I'll look for a guy who can play center or wing. He might not be as high as another just straight center, but at least I can fit him into the lineup more often. So that's typically how I go about it.
Nice. So interestingly enough, the results are quite different now that we've ranked it by the Z-score by position. And so you've seen Evan Bouchard rise up to the top of that list. And so this tells us that he ranks like proportionally, based on the statistical performance of people who are in that position, as well as, using standard deviation to understand how far away from the mean, ranks really, really high.
Yeah.
And it, not surprising. He did have 95 points last year, and he plays in the Oilers, plays in the power play.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of like benefits there, even though maybe not the best player in the NHL, might be really, really good in your draft. Might be one of those, like you said, top guys you want to pick.
Yeah.
I'd say that Seider Moritz or Moritz Seider, I was get his name backwards. A little bit of an interesting one that comes up, but that's probably because he ranks a lot higher on the physical side of things.
Totally.
Which shoot him up with average offense. Actually, probably pretty good for a D-man. And so ranks him a lot higher. So
not a lot of help in Detroit either.
Yeah, not a lot of help. A lot of minutes played. We could add time on ice in this as well. So anyways, just wanted to kind of show you taking Fantrax and my league, having that personalized side of things in combination with the raw performance data that we have at DataFeeds by Rolling Insights, combine it together to show people how they can go out and win their drafts.
This is awesome. Super cool. Yeah. I mean, we always talk about data feeds and we're always like, hey, come talk to us. If you want to talk about SportWise, we're here too. Like, this is another thing that we obviously have. If you're interested in it, talk to us about it. You can use it, like Steve said, in tandem with our other products and with your Fantrax leagues. I think we're connected with Yahoo as well. Yeah. So, which is kind of covers your bases, most everybody on fantasy leagues. So yeah, I mean, come talk to us. We're here. Hit us on LinkedIn. We don't have any questions right now. Things can always obviously come up, but thanks for jumping on with us, Steve. This was awesome. Hopefully this helps you guys win some drafts. Obviously, like, you guys can create your own. If you have other ideas, if you're like, hey, I think this formula would work better, this is how I would draft, do it. Get in there and test it out. Like Steve said, 30-day trial. SportWise, obviously, you can go and figure it out for as long as you want, really. So get in there, test it out, and we will see you guys. I will not see you guys, but Steve will see you guys on the next dev stream in a couple weeks, and we will catch you guys later. Once again, hit us up on LinkedIn, reach out to us, email, hit our website, Send in some forms. We will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and your summer.
Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.